There's so much passion in creating and get the right image onto my plate or onto the canvas. I really can not sleep for it. I can really go all night just because it's so much fun for me that I can't stop. I don't play with my food for the sake of playing with my food. I create so I can enjoy it to the utmost potential. My favorite product to work with would be the Oreo. I believe I have over 100 Oreo cookies stashed in here. It started where I twisted open an Oreo and it looked like a Nike Dunk. And I was like, I dunk it in milk. And then I was like, what else can I do? And then like 7 years later, here's like Guns N' Roses. I like playing with Oreos because I think there's so much variety. So I picked out a very busy, chaotic scene. I picked this because meme rhymes with cream and Oreo meme in cream. Now the fun part is looking and thinking about what colors I need to get from my stash. I have some Oreo cookies saved in this bin here. I've tried to find like a case for them. It doesn't exist because these ridges really do a number on like keeping it stable. Peeps came out with a pink one and then like I think last year it was a purple one. That's when I was like, jackpot. I was so ecstatic when like this like a darker, I don't remember, let me see. This smells like a cinnamon, a gingerbread. So happy when this came out because I'm like, ooh, it's like a nice like caramel color. So some people get excited about flavors. I get excited about the flavors, but mostly for the color. It sounds really funny, but I'm very familiar with the Oreo creams, with what flavors are more mushy than not. There's a red hot one, which is like a cinnamon one. Super, super mushy, like melts right away. Yellow. Yeah, not as melty. You see how it takes a little bit longer to mush. The Game of Thrones one is another example of how it doesn't really melt. See, it's like it's not even rubbing anywhere. So that's great because then I can use the toothpick to just pop the cream away. I am going to start with the background. There's a nice blue. I already see that's too thick, so I kind of just use about half of it. And it's a little off blue, but again, there's no other real blue in there. And I just kind of swirl it around. I was drawn to Oreos initially because it already had the color in it. I don't know what paint is, and I don't know what difference between acrylic, oil. I would use air quotes a lot to be like, I'm an artist, because I never felt like I was one. I didn't even know what that meant. Because in Asian culture, like, you are not an artist. You go to school, you study, you finish school and you get a job. That's really what I was like trained to do. So this like art stuff and like playing with food or like even playing with paint, like you use a pencil to do your homework. It's not like you draw. It really is like, it wasn't encouraged or it wasn't really familiar. So I'm gonna now take a little break and put this in the fridge so it just cools just a little bit because I'm gonna add a layer. I think of a wordplay before I actually look at the color and think of something to do. I started this food art because I cooked something on my own in my first apartment by myself and didn't waste any ingredients. I saw what was left over. So they were like, that was a delicious sauce. And I made like, it was really simple at the time, like a face. Or when I had Tabasco, I did like Tabasquiat, like I did that. So even just the way it was splattered. So I really just took that element of what I had in front of me, what I created, what I took the time to meal prep and to gather the ingredients and took it up a notch to just appreciate it some more and also to like satisfy my ongoing wordplay. The only thing I can remember that I really recognized my dopamine rush was in second grade, and we had to list as many synonyms as possible. I was the one that had 2 full pages of it. My second grade teacher looked at me and was like, how did you think of that? And I was just like, yeah. I was like, do you want more? And she was like, how do you know that? I was like, this is like the funnest game in the world. It really is. There are a lot of food stylists that like create portraits with food as a medium, but I don't see a lot of people with the wordplay and the pun, and I guess the excitement of it all. That's what sparks the idea initially and the drive to get the ingredients immediately in that connection between wordplay and food creation. The creation of Adam, but I use Adam cheese, white fish hair on Larry David, so I could say carb your enthusiasm. Grilling meat softly with his tongs. That's like Korean barbecue. I know, so good, right? I had a lot of like people tease or question, hence why I never called myself an artist, because they're just like, this is an art, you're just playing with food. Oh, this is a good one. They're like, my 8-year-old can do that. I'm like, and I actually don't respond usually because I just don't engage. But if I were to respond, it'd be like, great, I hope they do. I'm not trying to be anything. This is just fun. And one of the most challenging questions I get is like, what's your goal? I don't know, just to like be inspired, I guess, is really what makes me happy at the end of the day. And a good wordplay, that reward, it like motivates me. I can stay up all night just to be like I'll Google it, like it doesn't exist. And I'll go and do it. My inspiration comes from daily life, interactions between objects, people, music, just all my senses. When I'm eating something, I think of, I'm eating salmon, and I think of wordplay and whatnot, or the locks, and I think of all the words that rhyme with locks and like have association with locks, and whether it's like locks of love or the locks, you know? So it really has an array of things. Essentially, all of this is just in my head because all the things that I create are the things that are passionate to me or familiar or just make me happy. My inspiration comes from within, I guess. My father owned a Thai restaurant in Hell's Kitchen. I can recall when I was younger, the way my father placed a tomato or the way he aligned the chicken. It was like plating, and that's what you call it nowadays. But back in the day, my dad wasn't like, how do you like my plating? He was like, here's the food. But I looked at it and saw, oh, this was once raw, this was once long, and this was once whole. And now it looks like this, and you arranged it this way, and it looks good, it looks appealing. There's some sort of appeal to it. I started looking at like different classes. One I felt like I really enjoyed since I love sculpting with Oreo cream. I was like, well, maybe I can sculpt with clay because I really just liked rolling, like even like the nose or even the hands. Like it was just some sort of like element where I can use my hands to really create shapes and take away and add. So I took a sculpture class and I learned a lot of things. The most surprising thing is that half the tools, actually all of the tools, I already had because I was using it for my food art to cut the cheese or to cut, I don't know, any like vegetables. And it really is just a different form, but a little bit more sharper because clay is soft and certain types of foods are more difficult to cut through. I do this. I play with food. I'm a food artist. Is for me. And unfortunately, I don't have any support for it in terms of like, oh, what do you think about this wordplay? Like, nobody gets that much satisfaction from it the way I do, and I already accepted that. All the Instagram posts and the likes and the followers, I really don't care. I don't care what day I post, I don't care what time I post, I don't care what I post. I already know that this makes me really happy, and I really just do it for me.